In a team that has seen a huge amount of change over the last few years, Lauren Batchelor has cemented herself as one of the rocks of Kelly Grove Racing. As General Manager of Commercial, she's responsible for everything to do with the business side of going racing. And in this chat, she tells us all about what it was like doing life on the road for over 100 days, living out of a bus during COVID last year, and everything that her role entails behind the scenes. Lauren, you said yourself you're somebody who prefers to be behind the camera when we're in pit lane. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper into your role and a bit about you. So you play an integral role in Kelly Grove Racing. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is not my natural habitat. So my role at Kelly Grove Racing is I'm General Manager of Commercial, so oversee all of the business elements of racing. So we've got right down from our merchandise, our membership, right through to our really critical partnership servicing as well. So it started about 7 years ago, and I can't quite believe it's gone that quickly.
Fantastic. Would you say that you have caught the motorsport bug?
Oh, chronically. It's been just such an incredible journey from the sense that you're working with people who are just at the top of what they do, these incredibly talented and skilled individuals, and it is nothing but contagious to see everyone's passion for what they're doing. And you know, I've been so fortunate along the journey. I work with very patient people who have taken the time to sit down with me over the years, and I've learned so much, and the enthusiasm and the passion that I've got for it now is just unbelievable. My dad can't quite believe it. He never thought I'd end up here, but here we are.
Yeah, you never know where the road will take you, which is part of the fun of it. You touched upon the lessons that you've learnt. What are some of those biggest lessons?
I think very much from the technical side of things. Obviously my background sits predominantly in marketing and business, and I do not claim to be a technical bod in the slightest. I know you've got a very good mechanical background. I certainly don't, but I think to learn a lot of the technical aspects of these cars has been just fascinating. When you're looking at what the engineers are working in, you know, tenths of a second, millimeters, you just can't quite believe everything that has to go into making these cars be as competitive as they possibly can.
How have the people around you kind of taken you under their wing over the years to teach you these things?
Oh, so Todd Kelly in particular, our team owner, he's been a really wonderful influence over my journey, and he's really helped guide me through the sport over the years. Nick Ryan, who was my previous boss, who I then took the seat of, really always took the time. There was always patience. There was no such thing as a silly question, which I think in this sport, particularly if you're coming into it with fresh eyes, it's so important to be able to ask everything you need to get all the information. And sometimes, you know, there can be environments where you think, oh gosh, I better not expose that I don't know that. But better you ask and find the information, and then you can pass it on to others.
Motorsport really is a people business, and a lot of people don't understand that because they see the car going around on the track, it's one driver, but the number of people behind the scenes who have put in the work to get to the point where the car can even get on track is enormous. How does it feel to you to be part of such massive people business, considering from the outside it doesn't look like such a people business?
Again, to use that word, it's been such a privilege. I think for me, particularly being from the UK, I think coming into the supercars community has been just a mind-blowing experience. The way everyone comes together, and you know, the Victorian teams went on the road last year, and just the sense of community and the support network that was in that group of people that went on the road trip really cemented what I've always loved about the sport. You know, I walk up and down pit lane, it's friendly faces, and it's a really enjoyable experience to come away racing every weekend.
You touched upon COVID, and although it was such a challenging year, it could look from the outside like it was a low, but was it almost a high seeing how the sport banded together?
I thought it was astonishing the way the category was able to pivot, and it made me so proud to be a part of it. I think you know, for us to be able to get a season away last year, we were incredibly fortunate. And for me personally, we did the road trip slightly differently to a few of the other teams. We all piled into Todd's big gold coach and off we went, and Priscilla did the deserted right through. And it was just an incredible experience. A real highlight, I think, for the whole team was the drive from Queensland up to Darwin in the Northern Territory. It was the most Australian experience of my life. We saw kangaroos and emus running alongside each other and stopped in the most amazing little country towns, and we met, you know, some incredible people along the way that had actually been following the journey through. So they were watching the coach go through. We had a radio in there. You get all the truckies coming in over the radio saying, "Good luck, Kellys," you know. But I think it was a real credit to the supercars community being able to do that pivot so quickly, and particularly the sacrifice of the Victorian teams for a lot of our crew. They've got young families they're leaving behind, so it was certainly incredibly appreciated by everyone that we were able to do that. And the sport itself, you know, just being able to change on a dime. We were getting to points where I think one day we were driving to Sydney and we didn't know whether we were going to be turning right and going to Sydney Motorsport Park or turning left. We're on the phone, we're about an hour away from the junction, we need to know what we're doing. And you know, everyone was just working so hard to get the information as quick as they could, but everyone's in the same boat, you know. There was no manual for dealing with it, and I think it was a real credit to the whole community how everyone came together. And you know, we did the show for the people, and hopefully we were able to provide some much needed light relief for our poor fellow Victorians who were the ones that were really doing it tough over that time.
Did that kind of bond you as a team? Did it bring you together closer and lift morale in what was really a difficult and challenging time?
It certainly did. I mean, as with anything, I had 14 new housemates that I wasn't accustomed to for 106 days. There is a level of shared experience there that absolutely, you know, it really did bring everyone together, and we were very fortunate. We had some incredible experiences along the way. We went to the Kelly's farm on the New South Wales side of Mildura, and we did some really great team bonding activities. We did fitness sessions. We were pulling troopies across a paddock. We were doing sprints up and down. They've got pretty much everything you can imagine with a motor on that farm. So there was a lot of fun to be had while we were out there. And I think the shared experience of we all had that same goal. We were here for a purpose. We're an entertainment product. It's all about the fans. Everything we do is about the fans, and you know, we all really had to keep that front and center in what we were doing and remember why we were doing it, and that was a real driving force behind last year as well, and always.
I can certainly say that the entire community was so grateful for everything the Victorian teams gave up. Do you think that the way that supercars as a sport made 2020 season happen was progressive?
I do. I think it was, you know, there are probably so many instances where other communities may well have had too many challenges to overcome to achieve what we were able to achieve last year. And our ability to pivot and our ability to see opportunity where there seemed to be so much negative going on in the conversation globally was really progressive. It showed that we can react but still create something to be really proud of throughout that time.
There would definitely have been some, as we touched upon, challenges in how you approached racing last year, but not only with COVID, but with the challenges in general. How do you approach those from a people perspective?
I think the really critical piece is communication. It's very much about your people come first. As soon as any new information becomes available, you share it with your people as a priority, and that extends to our partner network as well. They're a really crucial part of what we do and very much an extension of our team. You know, one thing last year, it was always a real priority that whenever we got those updates from Supercars, you know, we were fortunate we had a tannoy system on the bus, so we could give those straight away to everyone so that to the best of our ability, everyone was across what we were doing and when we were doing it, and that was a really crucial part of last year.
There has been a fair bit of change amongst your team over the last few years, from changing manufacturer to going down to 2 cars, to the Kellys now coming together with the Grove family to form Kelly Grove Racing. So from your perspective, how have you managed those changes over your time with the team?
When you look at it on paper, it's quite staggering to look at the evolution the team's gone through over the years, particularly 2019. That was a massive change for us, moving over to the Ford Mustang program. That was a huge piece of work for the crew. We achieved, I think, about 6 months worth of development work in the space of 12 weeks. So there's very little sleep had. The work ethic that the boys put into that time was nothing short of astounding. And then we moved over branding to Kelly Racing, and now at the start of this year we're Kelly Grove Racing. And I think again it's viewing change as a really positive thing. We've always been a very optimistic bunch. We've had that much change over the years that you have to see it as a really positive thing, and it's an evolution, and it's a chance to reinvigorate and reinvent and look at every facet of your business and what you're doing, and identifying where you can make things better, how you can improve, and obviously keeping front and center that fan experience, because that's what it's all about. Everything we do is for them. And having the Groves come on board, in particular Brenton and Stephen, we're incredibly fortunate there, because not only do they have a fantastic foundation in motorsport, they know the landscape inside out, back to front, but their values are so aligned with who we already were as a team and what Todd and Rick built. They're a family business. They've got a huge amount of integrity. Having those values be able to continue on and do nothing but grow, we're in a really fortunate position. The excitement and the optimism amongst the team is palpable at the moment. We're on the precipice of something really exciting, and I think everyone's thrilled to be a part of it.
I really love what you said about how change is something to be embraced and it's something to be excited about. How do you ensure that the people in your team have that optimism instilled in them as well, and you're all on the same path, going in the same direction?
They come first. It's all about them. Everyone in this business contributes to a driver's success and getting here to the track. I think a lot of people could potentially look at this sport and you see the driver, obviously, and they're a huge part of it, but the support crew that goes on in the background, their contribution is as critical as anybody else's. And I think acknowledging that and making sure that everyone knows, right down from, it can be our race engineer, right down to our apprentice, everyone has contributed over the course of a weekend. And I think it's acknowledging that, it's a level of gratitude for that, and it's what served us really well, and it's what Rick and Todd used to help create a really strong team culture that we've got. And I think hopefully people from the outside can see what we're about. We're very honest about who we are, and I think that's really helped to foster a very positive culture.
Looking at the sport as a whole, what do you think are the commercial strengths of supercars and the journey that it can go on over the next few years?
I think supercars is a sport like no other. We're in an incredibly fortunate position as a code that we can allow people a level of interaction that you don't find anywhere else in the world in any other sport. To have the ability to bring people into the pit garages, show them the cars, the level of access that fans get to drivers with signing sessions and content, and the way that the sport as a whole and the community as a whole drive that and embrace that and push that as a really key part of what we're about. We're incredibly fortunate that we can give fans the experience that they deserve with the sport, because we wouldn't be here racing if they weren't to come out and watch us.
And where do you see your journey in the sport taking you?
You know, for me personally, I started my role as GM at the start of 2020, about 4 weeks before the COVID madness set in. And as induction courses in crisis management goes, it doesn't get much better than that. So I think I had about 10 years experience in the space of 6 months. But now I'm so excited about where we're going to go as a team. You know, we've got an opportunity now, particularly with the Groves coming on board. We're literally going through a process with them of throwing everything up in the air. Everything's on the table to change and grow and develop, and we really want to make sure that we're putting out the best possible product we can, and I just can't wait to sink my teeth into it this year.
Well, Lauren, it has been fantastic getting you from behind the camera in front of it and really getting to know you better. And thank you so much for taking the time, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.